Hi, welcome to episode 491 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Twitter, Instagram, excuse me, and over on Big Blue Sky. I also have a website called thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode show notes will be. And then I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my handspun yarns and knitting patterns. Hi, how are you? I hope that you are doing well. It is Monday, October 7th, and the air got a little bit of a chill in it overnight, and it was still in the 90s last week, but now it's a little bit chillier and it's in the 50s in the morning, and it feels a little bit like fall, and I am loving it, and I am full of crafty spirit, and I think I'm sort of making a comeback from my injuries. So I have had a really good crafty week, and that always makes me very happy. My mood is so much better. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you are safe wherever you are. We had some horrific hurricanes last week, and there has been lots and lots of flooding damage. I guess it's a little over a week now, but I hope that wherever you are safe, and that you are enjoying some crafty stuff. I will say, on my Facebook page, I posted there is a quilt store in North Carolina that is collecting, they say, quilts and blankets, and I don't know if that means sewn blankets or hand-tied blankets or knit blankets or exactly what, but they say that they are collecting quilts and blankets and pillowcases to distribute to folks in the area who have lost their homes, and so I took those quilts that I had done that I was planning to donate, and I didn't quite know where yet, and I went ahead and sent them off to North Carolina. So I feel like those baby and child quilts will find good homes there, and if you have anything that you might want to contribute, you can go ahead and check that out on my Facebook. I shared it is Keepsake Quilting in North Carolina. They're the ones who are collecting. So I felt good about that, and I also packed up a box of all my charity goods, all the hats and mittens that I knit this last year, which admittedly were fewer than years previous. Oh, and those garter stitch scarves that I knit with all the different colors. I packed that box up, and I am taking that to the post office to be sent to Knit the Rainbow. So I feel great. I've done a little bit of my fall cleaning, which is to get everything I've been prepping all year into boxes and out the door, and so I am ready to entertain new projects. So I have lots of knitting to show you this week, so let's start with that. I have no finished objects. But I'll show you the things that I'm working on. I have one whip that I've showed you before, and then I have two new things that I'm working on. So the first thing that I'm working on is I'm working on my mom's sweater. This is Joji Locatelli's Night Out cardigan, and I actually went back and looked, and I knit it. I gave it to my mom for her birthday in March of 2022, so it's been a little over 2.5 years, and she wore it a few times and decided that the sleeves were too wide in circumference and then too long for her, and so she asked me if I could fix them. And luckily that's a sweater that's done top down, and the sleeves are then picked up and knit in the round, and because she was asking for smaller circumference and shorter than before, I didn't even need to find the yarn, which is fabulous because of course if you're like me, you may have put the yarn into some other project, or you might have to toss through everything to try and find the leftovers, but I didn't have to. So I unraveled the first sleeve and started working on it, and I showed it to you last week, and I unfortunately did not finish it this week, but I made good progress. I'm very pleased with it. So this is about what I've got right now, and let's see, I think I had 5 inches when we last talked, and I got a little distracted by other things, which I'll show you in a minute, but I can tell you what I have now. Let me just pull out my my handy dandy tape measure, and I am at about 9.5 inches now. So she wants her sleeves approximately 15.5 inches. So I would say I'll probably go till 14 or 14.5 and then do ribbing on the bottom, and then I will just have to do the other one. So making good progress on this, and would love to get this knocked out this month, but I'll definitely get the rest of the sleeve knocked out this week, and then I can start on the next one, and so it should be fine. And I have, we're taking a short car trip one weekend in October because we're going up to Iowa, so my husband can do a run up there, and so that's a few few hours in the car, so I'm sure I'll have some time to work on it. I do think part of the reason that I've gotten more done this week is because the fingering weight yarn in the round is actually really easy to knit, and so I can knit for a while on it before my arm starts to feel tired, because as much as I love the chickens, they are a thicker yarn and kind of thick and thin, and so it's a little bit harder on my arm, but this seems to be fairly easy. So I'm working on this, and hopefully we'll have that done soon, and then we'll be able to wash it and block it and take it back to my mom when I see her in November for Thanksgiving. So the first thing that one of my friends said to me on the morning of October 1st, which was right after the last time I podcasted, because I last podcasted on the 30th of September, she messaged me and said, "Happy Socktober." And I was like, "Oh, Socktober, yeah, no, I can't cast anything new on." And then I thought, I can cast on a sock. So I had a pair of socks in progress, and I think I've decided that the reason that I'm not working on them is, there are two reasons. One is that I'm doing them 2 at a time on a circ, and that is what the pattern that I'm knitting calls for, but I think I just don't enjoy knitting socks 2 at a time on one circ. I feel like I spend too much time moving the circ around and trying to get the yarn untangled, and so I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off that circ and go ahead and do them separately on DBNs, and so I'm going to do that, but I was like, you know, I could just cast on a sock. So I went ahead and pulled some yarn. I often knit socks for my niece and nephew for the holidays. Actually, I often knit them a lot of things, and I have not knit them much of anything this year because my arm has been so sore. I did not knit them their traditional birthday sweaters, and actually I need to work on finding their gifts and getting them sent, because they are not getting handmade gifts this year. Usually I knit them each a sweater for their birthday, but I just wasn't feeling up to it, so I'm going to make other plans. And then I just didn't knit them much in the way of anything else because I just haven't been feeling up to it. But I thought, you know, I could probably knit 2 pairs of socks between now and Thanksgiving. I mean, they're kids. They're smaller than my size, and I have size 6.5 feet, so my socks are pretty small. They usually only use about half a skein of sock yarn. So I decided to go through the stash and pick out some things, and called my sister and asked if she would make tracings of the kids' feet, because I have her do that so that I can kind of update and know like how long their feet are and how long I should knit the socks. And I started knitting a sock. So I am using some yarn that has been in my stash for a long time, and that makes me happy because I love stash diving. I never have to worry about stash diving for sock yarn because I have plenty of that. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne Fingering, and I have had this for years. It is color number 26428. I don't even know what that translates to, but it is very pretty. Oh, it looks like the colorway Vancouver. It is 357 yards to 100 grams, 80% superwash fine Highland wool and 20% polyamide. And I do like having a little bit of plastic or nylon in the socks because they tend to wear better. Not that the kids are somewhat hard on their socks because they wear them a little bit of everywhere, and like they're not always like, oh, I should wear shoes while I'm wearing handspun socks like many of us are, but also they outgrow them fairly quickly, so I'm not really sure that they wear through them. I've never actually had a pair returned to me, although I've told my sister she can and I will patch them, but I think the kids outgrow them before they actually finish. Anyway, so I went ahead and started just kind of a basic sock. I have some idea of the circumference, and even if they're a little slouchy, that's okay. They'll grow into them. So I went ahead and cast on 56 stitches on a size 0 needle. And I don't know whether these will be for Roxy or Miles. They're both growing like weeds. So I could probably do for either of them. And I knit a decent cuff. I like how it's kind of flashing around. So it's kind of nice. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but that's great. And it's green and purple and then kind of this teal. So it's really pretty, and I think it could be for either kid. And I just got into the heel flap, which I'm doing as a slip stitch heel flap. So a slip one, knit one, and then purl all the way back. And I've only done a couple rows of that, but I will continue to work on this. And then my thought is that I will start kind of on the foot, and I'll do a few inches on the foot. And then if I haven't gotten that trace tracing for my sister yet. I actually have another set of, these are size US, so they're 2.25 millimeter and 0, US 0 DPNs. And I have another set of DPNs in zeros. And so my thought is that I could actually start the second sock before I finish the first if I want to. If I'm waiting on that tracing to figure out how long the sock is. I guess I could also pull those other socks off. Anyway, so I am pleased, and my hope is maybe I'll knit a pair of socks because we're like a quarter of the way through the month and I'm almost a quarter done with this sock. So my thought is maybe I'll knit a pair of socks this month, and then if I knit another pair next month, then each kid will have a pair of socks for the holidays. So I thought that might be nice, especially since they outgrow, they don't always outgrow, they usually get a couple years out of their sweaters because I usually knit it with some generous fit, and then I've knit them lots of hats and mittens and scarves, and so they have plenty of those, but the socks are the one thing that I think they really outgrow every year, so it's always nice, and socks are so easy. I mean, I want to say I've done this in, this is either it's either 3 or 4 nights work. I did the ribbing on one night, and then I did like 10 rows another night, and then the other 2 I went and had coffee with Anna on Saturday, and I did some last night on knit night. So I can get at least 10 to 12 to 15 rows done, you know, in addition to all the other things that I'm doing. So it's kind of nice to be able to do little bits and pieces on different projects at different times of the day. So that is what I'm doing there, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad to participate in Socktober, even if I'm not like wholeheartedly like as many as I can. So the other thing that I have been working on a lot this week is I have another chicken, and so I was going to show you because this one is kind of fun. We call these treasure chickens because they have lots of little bits of all kinds of different colors in them. And I also like doing ink swatches with these where I pull out a bunch of different fountain pen ink colors and kind of try and match the palette. But this one is just super fun because it's got all these different colors in there. And I have several more pieces to go before I am done, but this is going to be one fun chicken. So this is kind of also what I'm working on this week. So those are the knits. The other thing that I spent quite a bit of time on towards the end of last week and then all of this weekend is I went ahead and put my most recent quilt together for quilting. And so basically what I did is I made the quilt sandwich. I can't remember, I don't think I brought it in to show you last time. Basically I added borders to the quilt top, and then I sandwiched the quilt top together with batting and backing, and I went ahead and started quilting it. And I got it about half quilted this weekend, which is fun, and I will continue to finish it this coming weekend, but I wanted to show you what I got so far. So you can see, I think I've been using, what have I been using? I've been using this as the top of the quilt, I think. Have I? Yes. Yes? No. I've been using this as the top of the quilt, and you can see I actually, I am splicing together a couple pieces of batting so that I can use up some of my leftovers, really trying to make good use of what I've got. And this is the Cape Facet quilt that I showed you. The fabric is all from Cape Facet, and then it is called the Mini Petals quilt. It is a free pattern from Robert Kaufman, and I chose to use green thread, and you can see I'm just kind of doing loop-the-loops on it. You can see it more in the borders where I'm just kind of doing all kinds of loopy swirls all throughout the quilt. And I am approximately, as I'm holding the quilt now, the top half of the quilt is quilted and the bottom half is not. So the bottom half still has my safety pins in it, kind of holding it together, you can see, and I will be going back and doing that. And then I selected a Cape Facet, a loud print that comes in one of his wide back fabrics. So I have a big piece of that on the back, and it is just bright, crazy colors, but I chose it because it had the green, and I thought the green swirls would look really good on it, and so I think they do. And so it's a little different from the front, but I thought it would be kind of fun. And so we've got the front and the back, and I think the colors echo each other nicely. You can kind of see here. I mean, you'll never see it exactly like this, especially since it's going to be a wall quilt. It's going to be up on my wall, so this side is going to be facing the wall, but I thought it made kind of a nice contrast for that. So that is what I have been working on. So I am starting to think about other things. I did do a very, very, very small bit of embroidery. I basically filled in some holly leaves, and so I didn't bring that to show you today because I didn't do enough of it. I definitely want to do more of that this week. I have more chicken knitting to do, and of course I'd like to finish the sleeve of my mom's sweater and maybe work a little further on that sock. It is definitely fall. I want to knit all the things. I'm not going to compete seriously. Well, I guess it's not even really compete. I'm not going to join super seriously Nanny Swaymo this year, which is National Knit a Sweater Month, which occurs in November. I am not going to join it seriously because I know I will not finish a sweater in November. I cannot. I'm not going to push myself that hard, but I decided it might be fun to cast one on. And so I think I've decided what I'm going to do. I haven't 100%, so I might wait for another week or two before I share that with you. But my goal is to try and finish up some of these things like the socks and my mom's sweater so that I could potentially cast on a new sweater for me. I still have the tee that I'm working on, and I still will probably work on that over the next few months. First of all, for Nanny Swaymo, technically, I mean, this doesn't even matter because I'm not even following the rules. But for Nanny Swaymo, technically, you don't do whips. You have to start a new sweater on the 1st of November and cast it off before the 30th. So while I'm not going to cast it off before the 30th, I do kind of want to cast on with everyone. And so, yeah. And I'm not unmotivated to finish the tee because I really would like that tee. And I love the colors, but it's starting to be the wrong time of year for a tee because we're now moving into fall and I'm thinking all things cozy and I want to just snuggle up. And so I think I'm going to cast on more of a winter sweater. I have a bunch of different worsted weight yarns, and the sweater that I'm thinking would be kind of a... well, it's in brioche, and so it would be 2 colors of worsted weight, and it wouldn't technically be like a colorwork sweater because it's not exactly double, but like it's going to be heavy, and so it would definitely be kind of a winter sweater. So my thought is that I might do that, and I would like to finish that other pair of socks. I would really like to finish as many of the whips that I have abandoned this year as I can. The only one that I absolutely know I will not is I still have that blanket for my niece and her husband. They're coming up on their first anniversary, their first wedding anniversary this month, and I had hoped to get that blanket done in time, but I cannot and will not get it done in time. And so that one I'm comfortable with taking into next year, but I would love to get the tee and some of the socks that I have started finished. And so I'm hoping that maybe the next few months, if I don't push too hard, but I consistently chip away at things, maybe I will finish and be able to start my new year with a bit of a clean slate. So I think that's what I have for you today. I don't want to take up too much time because I don't have that much to show you. As I said, I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone is safe and enjoying the changing of the seasons and feeling inspired to craft. I am starting to think about my next quilt, my next knit. I feel like I'm actually kind of firing on cylinders, and I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm feeling really hopeful about things, which I realize is like kind of a whiplash opposite from where I was a few weeks ago, but actually feeling ready to craft has definitely made all the difference. So I hope that you have a lovely week ahead. And oh, I just realized that I forgot to share the tea of the week with you, so I will do that. I am back to sipping tea, and I am sipping it in my Hello Kitty mug, my Happy Halloween mug, which I only bring out a few times a year. And the tea that I am sipping today is Organic Bliss from Tea Runners, and it has green tea, white tea, dragon fruit pieces, lemongrass, kiwi, raspberry, and some natural flavoring. So this is, and actually I finished it today, so it's got just a little bit left, but not enough for another cup. So I'm excited about that, and I'm drinking that in my Hello Kitty mug. So I am drinking a little bit of sweetness for the afternoon, and I will finish my work and then get back into crafting this evening, which I'm ready to do. So I will say until I see you next time, happy knitting, happy spinning, crocheting, fall crafting, quilting, embroidering, anything that you love to do, and of course, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.